Well, the Pentagon and the president now responding to reports on the scope of the potential U.S. strike against Syria. We've learned that the Defense Department had been asked to revise their plans more than 50 times since President Obama began considering a, quote, limited military action. So what could the plans now entail? Van Hipp is a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Army and Chair of American Defense International. Nice to see you, Van.
Allison, good to be with you.
So our Pentagon reporter, Jennifer Griffin, found out that these Pentagon planners have been asked more than 50 times, I think about 52, to revise the plan for how they would attack and what they would attack in Syria. Now, to my civilian ear, that sounds like a lot, but give us some context. Are these plans always revised often?
Well, to the people I talk to in the military, it's an awful lot. And I tell you, there's a lesson to be learned here. This is why you don't go around drawing red lines in the sand without a military strategy and without a foreign policy and without really a defense budget to support that strategy. We've cut our defense budget drastically in the last couple of years, while the Russians are expected to increase theirs 59% between now and 2015. But Allison, what you're talking about, I believe what's going on is this. The administration wants to and thinks that they can go in and do a very short military strike and get out and stop it. The military is going back to the administration and saying, guys, it doesn't work this way. There are consequences that you have to be prepared for when you undertake a military strike, no matter how short and no matter how surgical.
Now, there are also reports today that the target list has been revised. Originally, we thought that the target was just going to be the chemical weapons warehouses. Today, it sounds as though the Pentagon planners are preparing for strikes on military units that protect and prepare the chemical weapons, on military headquarters, on rockets and artillery, on long-range missile sites, and on air defenses. That actually makes more sense, doesn't it, Van?
Well, yeah, they're looking at more of what we call command and control type of targets, as well as targets that have the ability to deliver chemicals and other weaponry. As well as, and you got to consider this, and we actually wrote an op-ed for Fox yesterday about this, to look at the military weaponry and equipment that Assad has. Is very sophisticated. They've got some very sophisticated anti-ship missiles. The P-800 Yakout is a supersonic anti-ship cruise missile that can go out to 300 kilometers. So before you undertake a military strike, you better consider the capability of systems like that and try to take out those kinds of systems first. They've also got the S-300 air defense missile system. This is serious business, Allison. Putin alluded to the fact yesterday that he had suspended that. Let me tell you, they began that shipment earlier this year. Assad is on record back in May saying that they received the first delivery of these S-300s. These things, these S-300 missiles, Allison, have the ability to shoot down incoming aircraft and cruise missiles at a range of up to 200 kilometers. So all these kinds of things have to go into your military planning and the equation before you just decide to undertake a military strike for show.
Yeah, it's complicated, obviously. Now, as a journalist, I like hearing all of this information and getting all of this information and debating it. But are we supposed to be talking about all of this and our plans this publicly? Are we taking away the element of surprise?
Well, I think that's the frustration with the military. We have the best military in the world. There's no question about that, and the best fighting men and women in the world. But we have telegraphed everything we're going to do. So we have given them, the Assad regime, ample opportunity to move various command and control units around, to move some of these chemical caches around. So we have, by telegraphing it, we've made it much more difficult to undertake a successful military strike.
Van, do you think that the plan, as we understand it today, in terms of what the targets are and in terms of it being limited, do you think that that will accomplish the goal of degrading Assad's chemical weapons?
No, I don't. Let me tell you why. I'm one who believes in the old Ronald Reagan test. There must be a vital national security interest. Where is that national security interest? Your military mission has got to be carefully defined, and you've got to have an end game. What is the end game with such a strike? Allison, because of the linkage to Russia and Putin, they will be able to reconstitute their military capability very quickly. Putin sold them $4.3 billion worth of hardware last year. Syria is the largest importer of Russian weaponry in the entire Middle East. My concern is a very short military strike for show will enable them to reconstitute their military capability very quickly because of their linkage to the old KGB agent, Vladimir Putin.
You can read more of Van Hipp's wisdom and position on foxnews.com, where he has that column that he mentioned. Van, thanks so much.
Great to be with you.
And remember, you can get the latest developments on the crisis in Syria from both Washington and beyond. You can visit foxnews.com/foxnewsfirst. You can sign up for our daily Fox First note. Simply enter your email into the line, then you click that sign up button. Again, that's foxnews.com/foxnewsfirst. Don't miss out on information. And a Washington State Congresswoman speaking out for the first time about her new baby girl and how she survived a condition that is normally considered fatal. Plus, new jobs numbers raising fresh concerns about the U.S.